Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Well, today we're diving into something we use every single day, right? Language.
Absolutely.
But we're going deeper than just definitions. We got some fascinating research here.
Yeah, exploring how some, like common expressions we use, how they actually reflect our culture, and even maybe a little bit about how we think.
That's right. We've got 4 expressions that we're going to unpack today.
And I bet you've used them all before. Brush up, leave no stone unturned,
Innuendo.
and wow factor.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so let's start with brush up. Hey, you ever, you haven't used a skill in a while and it's gotten a little bit rusty.
Oh, yeah, like riding a bike after years of not touching one. Like, your brain knows what to do.
Right.
But it takes a little bit to get back into the swing of things.
Exactly. So that's where brushing up comes in. It's refreshing that knowledge.
Right.
Or a skill, polishing it up till it shines again.
And the phrase itself is so visual, isn't it? Like if you think about it, it's like you're cleaning off an old object, you're removing the dust to reveal its former brilliance.
Right, like polishing those old family silver pieces
Exactly.
until they gleam. And, in our research, there's this great example. It says, before her trip to France, Maria decided to brush up on her French to ensure she could communicate effectively.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But brushing up, it's more than just studying, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
There's this element of confidence, like that feeling of, being sharp and ready to tackle something.
Yeah.
That maybe you felt intimidated by before.
Totally. Like you're dusting off those mental cobwebs.
Yes.
And reclaiming that expertise.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have this phrase, leave no stone unturned. Now, this takes, this idea of thoroughness to a whole other level.
It really does.
What's interesting to me here is the intensity it implies.
Uh-huh.
You're not just searching for something. It's like you're on a mission. You're exploring every single option, every nook and cranny. You're not giving up. You won't until you've exhausted every single possibility.
And you know what's fascinating?
What?
That this phrase, it originates from ancient Greece.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Our sources, they tell the story of a general who was told to turn every stone to find this hidden treasure.
It's amazing how an expression like that, like from so long ago, it still resonates with us today.
It really is.
Like we have another example here. Determined to find her missing keys, Lisa left no stone unturned, checking every possible hiding spot in her apartment.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Like, does that speak to something deeper about human nature? Like this drive to be thorough, to persevere, to not leave any possibility unexplored.
Yeah, like are we hardwired to be curious, to seek answers, to solve mysteries?
Maybe.
All right, so then we get to innuendo, which adds a whole other dimension to, like communication.
Yeah.
It's suggestion, implication.
Right, you're saying something but without directly saying it.
Yeah, it's like this linguistic dance.
Mm-hmm.
You're hinting at something, you're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for the listener to follow.
And what makes innuendo so intriguing is that it relies on this shared understanding, this shared context.
Yeah, you have to trust the listener will pick up on those subtle cues and decode your message.
Right. And that can be powerful.
For sure.
But it can also be a little risky, right?
Yeah.
Because if the intended meaning is misinterpreted...
Oh, things can go sideways fast.
They really can. If you think about the Latin root of the word, it literally means like by nodding or by hinting. It's all about that nonverbal communication, reading between the lines.
Right. Like there's this example here from the research. It says, the manager's remark about office punctuality was seen as an innuendo aimed at the frequently late employee.
Ooh.
It's a lot of shade, just with a few words.
It really is. And it shows how innuendo can be used for different purposes, like for humor, criticism, or even flirting.
It's a subtle art form.
It really is.
Okay, so we talked about brushing up on skills, leaving no stone unturned, using innuendo to, navigate those complexities of social interaction. What's next?
Well, let's talk about something that evokes pure emotion. The wow factor. It's encountering something truly impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Something that leaves you, speechless with admiration.
It's like that feeling of awe and wonder. Like when you see, I don't know, like a breathtaking sunset or hear a piece of music that just moves you to tears.
Exactly. And what's so interesting about this, about the wow factor, is that it's not just about being surprised.
Oh.
It's about a specific quality that makes something truly amazing.
So it's not just, oh, that's unexpected.
Right.
It's more like, wow, that's incredible. How did they even do that?
Yes, exactly. And if you think about the term itself,
Yeah.
it combines that exclamation, wow, pure emotion with factor, which means like a contributing element. So it's about pinpointing that specific element, that elevates something beyond the ordinary.
Right. And we see that in our research here. This example, it says the bride's stunning gown added a real wow factor to the wedding.
Yeah. It's not just that the gown was pretty, it was something special.
Right. That captivated everyone.
Exactly. It's that intangible quality,
Yeah.
that elevates something to a whole other level. And I think it speaks to our inherent desire as humans to be amazed, to experience things that transcend the mundane.
Yes.
And spark a sense of wonder. That spark, it reminds us that there's always something new to discover, something that can take our breath away.
Yeah. It's like we're hardwired to seek out those wow moments, the experiences that make life a little more magical.
Speaking of magical, these expressions we've been talking about, they're actually pretty layered, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They're like little windows, each one, into how we view the world.
Yeah.
How we approach challenges, how we connect with each other.
Yeah. And they show how language is constantly evolving, like wow factor, relatively new phrase, right?
Yeah.
But it captures this universal human experience of being awestruck.
I was thinking about that as you were talking, like, did we need a new term for that feeling? Because the world is changing so rapidly and we're encountering more maybe wow moments now than ever before.
That's a good point. It's like language is trying to keep up with our experiences and perceptions as they keep expanding.
So, okay, if language is always changing, does that mean the meaning of these expressions, could it shift over time too?
It's possible. I mean, the way we use language, it's influenced by so many factors. Culture, technology, social trends.
Like it's a living, breathing entity.
Exactly.
Constantly adapting to its environment.
Which makes it so fascinating to study.
Right.
It's not just about words or grammar. It's understanding how people communicate, how they make meaning, how they connect.
It's like language is the key to unlocking the secrets of the human mind.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of unlocking secrets,
Yeah.
let's go back to innuendo for a second. It's a reminder that, communication isn't always straightforward.
Right.
Sometimes it's about reading between the lines, deciphering those subtle cues.
Yeah, like a linguistic game.
Yeah.
Of hide and seek.
Mm-hmm.
The meaning is hidden beneath the surface.
And it requires trust between the speaker and the listener. You have to trust that they understand your intention, that they'll pick up on those subtle hints.
Which makes me think about context. How important that is in communication. The same phrase, it can have completely different meanings depending on who's saying it, how they're saying it, or where they're saying it.
That's true. Like, think about the difference between saying, that's interesting, with a genuine, curiosity,
Right.
versus saying it with a sarcastic smirk.
Oh, yeah.
The words are the same.
Totally different meaning.
But totally different meaning.
Which is why clear communication is so important. Like, we have to be mindful of how our words might be perceived, especially when we're using expressions that rely on those subtle cues.
Right. And that kind of brings us to another crucial aspect of communication, our willingness to, brush up on our skills.
Okay.
Just like any skill, you have to practice to improve, right? We need to refine those communication abilities continuously.
So it's not just about learning new words.
No.
It's being intentional with our language.
Yeah.
Making sure we're conveying the message clearly and effectively.
Exactly. And that might involve, stepping outside our comfort zones a little, trying new ways of expressing ourselves, and being open to feedback.
It's like we're all lifelong students of language.
Right.
Constantly learning, adapting, and evolving that communication style.
And that's what makes it such a rewarding journey. The more we understand about language, the more we understand about ourselves and the world around us.
Wow, it's amazing how much depth we've uncovered just by exploring these 4 expressions, And it makes you realize how much power there is in the words we choose.
It really is. It's like we're wielding these invisible tools that shape not just how we communicate, but our whole understanding of the world.
I was thinking as we were talking about how active a process communication really is. It's not just passively absorbing words, right?
No.
It's actively engaging with them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You think about brushing up on a skill.
Yeah.
It requires effort.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put in the work to improve.
And then leaving no stone unturned.
Right.
That takes that active approach to a whole other level. It suggests like this relentless pursuit, a refusal to give up until you've, explored every avenue.
Like it embodies a certain mindset,
Yeah.
We're approaching challenges with determination and curiosity.